Man, it's becoming a common theme now, I feel like, that we're having these shows on Sunday and Monday. That's like how it's been the last couple weeks. But anyway, how we doing, guys? Thank you for tuning back in Heintz Sight, episode 21 for your Sunday, July 25th edition of this podcast. I put a post on my Facebook account that I wasn't going to be doing a show yesterday. My allergies, man, I swear, whenever I go to my friend's house, whether I'm sleeping over there and staying the night over there, or if I'm even just over there for like a few hours, I swear, like, my allergies like really act up when I come home. I really don't know why from there. But the last few days, man, my allergies have been the worst they've been so far. I've had them like ever since I've been a kid. I'm sure a lot of you guys do. But you know what it's like when your allergies are absolutely terrible. You feel like garbage. You know what I mean? You don't really have that energy. And I didn't want to come on here yesterday when I was feeling that way. You know what I mean? And I didn't really have that energy to really do this. So I decided not to do that yesterday, not do the show yesterday. So we're pushing it back again to today and obviously tomorrow. But yeah, we're feeling a little bit better. We've been taking some allergy medicine, some Benadryl, things like that. And I don't know why they just suddenly have been absolutely out of whack than how they usually are, but it is what it is. We're feeling better, and I'm excited to be back here. So anyway, hopefully you guys have had a good weekend so far. I swear, I'm like just losing track of what day it is and the dates and stuff like that. I don't know. But hopefully you guys are having a good day so far. Training camp, folks. Training camp is officially underway. It started last week for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we got some news coming out of training camp, folks. So, as I've been saying, I've been excited for it to start because there's going to be a lot of things to get into. There's going to be a lot of things to talk about coming out of this, not just for the Steelers, but all around the NFL. And we have some things that we're going to talk about tomorrow. There's good things going on around the National Football League that I want to get into. But coming out of Steelers, we're going to hop right into Steelers because it's the hot topic right now. So they listed their initial depth chart. Now, they do this every year, obviously. This isn't the final depth chart or anything like that. There's obviously going to be a few changes before the year officially gets underway. But I kind of wanted to quickly go over what the first look of this team's, from their starters to second string, third string, to who they have listed. And I'm sure you fans have kind of already seen this. But nonetheless, I wanted to just kind of dive into it a little bit and just kind of see what they have, who might be some interesting names to look out for, who might take a leap, you know what I mean? Things like that. So obviously we see the quarterbacks. Big Ben's obviously your number one. Mason Rudolph's listed at 2. Haskins 3. Josh Dobbs at 4. Now I think we all can look at this and say Josh Dobbs is probably the odd man out. Josh Dobbs has been on the team since 2017. And Josh Dobbs is a smart guy. I think he's got a good IQ for the game. And he's a smart guy in general. I mean, he's a legit rocket scientist, But I don't really know how much of a future he has in the league left. I really don't know. He was with Jacksonville, not this past year, but the year before, as a second, third stringer there. So, again, he's a guy that hasn't really had really many opportunities necessarily on the field. But I don't know. I don't really know what his future holds, but I think we can realistically look at he's probably the odd man out. Now, going into the season, I'm assuming Rudolph was probably going to be the backup because he's been, on this team for 4 years now. I believe this is his 4th year on the team. Let me see, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, his 4th year on the team. And now Haskins is obviously a wild card and an interesting take, which I think a lot of fans are interested to see what Dwayne Haskins is going to do in camp come preseason. I would love nothing more than for him to work out here, obviously. He's a young guy, former first-round pick. He was kind of in a bad situation with the Washington football team. He's in a better spot now, better culture, better coaching. The Steelers believe in him. He says he feels wanted, and, that might do a lot for his confidence. I think he's in a good position in the sense where he doesn't have to be thrown into things. He can kind of sit back, learn a little bit more. He doesn't have all that pressure on him. So that might do him good, and we've seen that happen sometimes, over the years in the league, right? But I don't know. Dwayne Haskins could be an interesting name to look out for. Will he take over the backup job for Mason Rudolph? I think for that to happen, Mason's got to look absolutely piss poor in the preseason. But I think those are probably your three guys. Those are definitely going to be your three guys going into the season this year. Looking at running back, obviously Najee is number one. Number two is Benny Snell. Now, Benny Snell, I definitely expect him to make the team. Whether he's going to be the number two guy, the third guy, I really don't know. Benny Snell hasn't really been all that impressive to me. He's had some good games so far in his young career, but I don't think Benny Snell's very good at breaking tackles. I don't think he has a lot of elusiveness. He has a lot of room to grow and a lot of things to improve on. This is his third year now on the team, so I'm not writing the guy off or anything like that, but he hasn't done anything to show that he's a guy that you can really ultimately rely on. And really outside the Giants game in week 1, he didn't really show anything else that was really all that impressive last year. So Anthony McFarland comes at number 3. Now, Anthony McFarland's a really big speed guy. He's, a home run hitting kind of running back. That's kind of how he is. He didn't do anything really much of importance last year. But, Anthony McFarland's definitely has a big opportunity waiting in front of him to, really capture that number 2 running back spot. And, where the Steelers can throw him in, man. I mean, they can really use a guy like that out of the backfield who has that kind of speed, who can have a big run. You know what I mean? Maybe he has maybe there's a little wheel route out of the backfield. You know what I mean? You hit him and it's a 40-yard gain or something like that. I don't know. But they could use a guy like that here and there that can really kind of be a hitter for you, so who knows. Some other guys too that they've listed on the number 2 running back spot. Let me look at this. So Jalen Samuels is still there. All right, Jalen Samuels, I feel like his time's run out here. Be quite frank with you, I don't think he's gonna make the team. I really don't. I don't know why you really would have him on this team, because he's done good things for the team over the years, but it's that point in time where it's time to move on. I think he's a versatile guy, but again, like the last few years, he hasn't shown anything in regards of making a difference for this offense, getting any kind of snaps. It's time to move on. They brought in Kalen Ballage as well. He's probably going to battle for that 4 spot. He was with Miami for a good bit. I don't really think there's a whole lot of stock into him necessarily, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to keep 4 running backs and he would be the 4th guy over Jalen Samuels. And then Derek Watt's obviously going to be the fullback. They still have Trey Edmonds, who might, they've kind of stashed him on the practice squad over the years, back and forth. So that's what they have there. Receivers, obviously, cool. Chase Claypool, Deontay, Juju. Those are obviously your 3 guys. Juju's going to be working, according to him. He's going to be outside more rather than just, most of the time in the slot. That's going to be interesting to see. I think that's definitely been like something for him that's been like a missed opportunity, because I think Juju can definitely, I think he does well outside. Now, obviously, slot is really where his strength is at, and he's still going to be there. But now if you're going to move him outside, Ray McCloud could be a guy that you can, he's another speedster, a guy that, if he can fill that spot, maybe if he could be like an Eli Rogers type every here and there. Gets open maybe down the middle of the field, maybe has a breakaway, he has some speed. So Ray McCloud's obviously going to be the returner for this team, as he should be, but he's also, I wouldn't be surprised if, if he gets some good time on the field as a receiver this year, especially in that Matt Canada offense now. They also have Cody White, whoever that is. James Washington's obviously going to be there as well. And it's been an unfortunate situation for James Washington too, because James Washington had the best year of his career in 2019, right? And he was a 2nd-round pick. But the thing is, when he was drafted, the Steelers had Juju, they had AB, they had him. Was Eli Rogers on the team in 2018? He might have been. I think Eli Rogers was on the team in 2018. But James Washington was always kind of that odd man out, right? Because then even when AB left, then you bring in a Deontay Johnson, and then you also have a Chase Claypool that you brought in last season. So James Washington, I think, is a talented guy. I would like to see him implemented more this year. But I don't know. This is his last year on his contract. Who knows? But I think James Washington's been a guy that's been way underutilized in this offense, so we'll see if he's more involved this year. I don't know. Rico Bussey, whoever that is, Isaiah McCoy, whoever that is, Anthony Johnson, he's kind of been back and forth really the last couple years from the practice squad, things like that. Matthew Sexton, I believe they signed him in the offseason, and then Tyler Simmons, they also signed in the offseason, I believe, is a undrafted free agent, I believe, or he might have been on another team, and they got him from this practice squad. I can't remember. But I think realistically what we're looking at here going into the season, right? Jew, Deontay Chase, James Washington, Ray McLeod. And if they're going to keep a sixth guy, maybe, I don't know. I really don't know if they're going to keep a sixth guy or not. I think one of these guys I named are definitely going to have a really nice showing in the preseason to really solidify that. Tight ends, Eric Ebron's obviously going to be your number one guy. They drafted Pat Freiermuth. Behind him is Gentry, Kevin Rader, and Dax Raymond. Zach Gentry's been on the team since, I believe, 2018, 2019, and he hasn't really done anything in regards of, on-field productivity. There hasn't really been anything seen of him in regards of, hearing all these good things about him or anything like that. I don't really know what the Steelers are going to do with him going forwards. Kevin Rader's been a guy that's been on the team for a couple years now on the practice squad, and Dax Raymond, I have no idea who that is. So I highly doubt he makes it. But Ebron, Freiermuth, and then probably Gentry or Rader is probably going to be that third guy if they keep three tight ends. Now, this is obviously the weakest part of the team. This is the position that gets the most hate and what people go back to in regards to why they don't think Pittsburgh is going to be that successful. Now, this is going to be the starting five on the line. Banner is going to be right tackle. Right guard's going to be Trey Turner. Center's going to be Kendrick Green. Left guard Dotson. And your left tackle's going to be Chuck Okorafor. They have J.C. Hosner as a starting center for right now. That's obviously going to change. Kendrick Green's been taking first-team snaps, first-team reps in training camp so far. So that's just kind of something to start off with. Now, they also drafted Dan Moore in the fourth-round tackle. He'll probably make it. Joe Haig, they signed, I believe, from the Buccaneers last year. Chaz Green, they just signed from the Colts as another depth option. And then they got John LeGlue and Aviante Collins, whoever those guys are. I think just to be extra bodies in camp. But I think we can look at, like I said, the five. B.J. Finney will be there. There's six. Dan Moore will probably make it. There's your seven. And then, your eighth guy, maybe it might be a Hosner. It could be. It could be a Joe Haig, somebody like that possibly. But nonetheless, that's kind of what they're looking at in regards of offensive line. Now, I've been saying the offensive line, I think it's a question mark. People want to say their offensive line's terrible, but it's funny because you're saying their offensive line's terrible, but they have a completely new offensive line from last year. So I don't know how you can sit here and say their O-line's terrible when Kendrick Green hasn't played yet. Trey Turner hasn't played a snap in a Steeler uniform. Zach Banner got hurt last year, week 1. Okorafor was really the only guy that played, that was starting, and Kevin Dotson was great for the amount of times he played. So I don't understand how you can sit here and say their offensive line's terrible when they don't even have the same offensive line as last year. If anything, it's a question mark. No way it's going to be as bad as it was last year. Now, is it going to be this great offensive line? Absolutely not. But it should be at least a little bit of improvement. They got younger and they got more physical and they have a new offensive line coach. I would imagine it would be a little bit better than it was last year. Now, going on the other side of the ball. They also got, let's see here, defensive line. So obviously Hayward, Alu, Tuitt, those are going to be your three. They got Henry Mondu, who I really don't know why they like this guy. I feel like every time this guy's on the field, something wrong happens. Isaiah Buggs has been around for a few years now. He's going to have, I think, a really big preseason to really kind of solidify being that backup option behind Alu. Chris Wormley they got last year. He'll probably be on there. Loudermilk they drafted in the draft. Carlos Davis they had a couple years ago. And yeah, so that's kind of what you're looking at. And I think really out of all those names, there's a few other names nobody knows about. But really behind Alu, Hayward, Tuitt, You're probably going to look at Wormley, maybe Loudermilk. He could be a practice squad guy. Maybe Carlos Davis, depending if he has a good showing. Maybe Mondu or Bugs. It's really going to be a group of those guys that are going to be battling out. Now, there could be a surprise name for all we know, possibly. But that's that, looking at the defensive line. And I think realistically, obviously we have the three guys there, the big three. I think probably Wormley will probably get in there. You can really move him either way. Really play him in any spot, I think. I think Bugs is probably going to be a guy they're still going to keep around. Carlos Davis could be a guy that could surprise. They took him, I believe, a year ago. And, he has an opportunity in front of him to really kind of, take that spot from a Loudermilk, from a Bugs, from a Wormley, and be that fourth guy in the preseason. We'll see what happens out of that. Now, at outside linebacker, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. There's been some people in the media who think they know everything, and once the Steelers sign Melvin Ingram, they forget about Alex Highsmith. Alex Highsmith is going to be your guy week 1 as a starting outside linebacker. Okay, Alex Highsmith, what he did last year filling in for Bud Dupree was great. He got to the quarterback a lot, got off tackles, a lot of pressures. He had, multiple sacks for the amount of time he was in. I believe he had like 4 sacks, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of people are thinking Alex Highsmith is going to be that breakout player for the Steelers this year. There's some people that think he's going to have double-digit sacks. I don't know. He could. But I think he has I think Highsmith has a very high ceiling. And for the limited amount of time he played last year, because when did Bud Dupree get hurt? He got hurt a little bit after the middle part of the year. So I think Alex Highsmith, if I'm not mistaken, I think he started maybe 5 or 6 games. But in that amount of time and those amount of snaps, he showed a lot of really good things. So I definitely think that he's going to be a productive player for them on the edge. That's one thing. Between receivers and linebackers or edge, those are the positions the Steelers always hit in the draft, and I think Highsmith has a lot of potential. I really do. I like him a lot. Now, Melvin Ingram was an absolute home run grand slam signing for them. He was hurt last year, only played in 7 games, but other than that, he's really been one of the anchors for the Chargers defense over the years. He's been a Pro Bowler multiple times. He's a good guy coming off the edge. He's been that way throughout his whole career, and I think bringing him in now, yes, it strengthens that depth, obviously, but now, he can also, relieve Highsmith. And why I'm not just viewing Ingram, and I don't think he's not just going to be a backup. Melvin Ingram's definitely going to get good time on the field. He's going to get a good amount of snaps for sure. But I'm just saying, I think Highsmith's the guy week 1 in regards of who's going to be that starter, right? But Melvin Ingram's still going to get good time, and I still think that he's going to bring good things to this defense. He's going to bring leadership. He's a good guy in the locker room. He brings experience, and I don't think with everybody that has been available, I don't think you can get much better than Melvin Ingram coming in, being that third edge guy. So between those 3 guys, they're going to have a feast. Who's ever at quarterback, so just watch out. Now behind them, Cassius Marsh is a guy who they brought in last year. I'm not too crazy about him. He was with New England as well. Quincy Roche, they drafted him in the 6th round. He could be a guy that could could have a good showing in preseason. They liked him a lot. He was supposed to be like a 3rd, 4th round pick, if I'm not mistaken, but he dropped. I'm not sure why. So I think really between Marsh and Roche, I think they're going to kind of battle out for that other spot there. So that'll be interesting to look out for. I'm interested to see what Roche does in preseason. I really am, because he was a freaking sack machine in college. An inside linebacker. This is another thing. Vince Williams randomly retired first day of training camp on Wednesday. I don't know why he did. Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day it was. Steelers weren't expecting it. They cut him in the offseason. They brought him back. But I guess Vince Williams, his body wasn't right. His body wasn't in it. He said that it was said he was going to retire after this year anyway. It definitely sucks. It definitely sucks, man, because, Vince Williams was, when he came on the team in 2013, I believe, was his first year. He was kind of that 3rd inside linebacker, right? And behind Shazier and Timmins. And he was kind of that third guy there for quite a few years. And then really once Timmins left after 2016, that's when Williams stepped in. And Williams has been a very good quality starter over the years. Good tackler, good leader, good IQ, good awareness. He's good at tangibles. He's been that. So it definitely sucks that he did retire. He was definitely, I think, one of the more underrated Steelers on the defensive side over the years. But Devin Bush is coming back, who, is definitely huge for this team. He had a good rookie year. Unfortunately, got injured last year, pretty early on in the year. Robert Spillane had a nice showing last year. Toward the end of the year, he kind of struggled a little bit, kind of struggles in coverage, but he's still a guy. I mean, the Steelers like him a lot. I think a lot of the fans like him. He's going to be that number 2 guy. And really behind them, I mean, I've thought maybe Avery Williamson could be a guy they give a call. Maybe they still will. I don't know. But they drafted Buddy Johnson in the draft this year, who, they're going to give a lot of opportunity to in camp in the preseason and see if he takes advantage of that. Ulysses Gilbert has been a guy that I've liked the last few years, but hasn't really been, much of an opportunity either. Hopefully he takes advantage of that. And obviously Marcus Allen is a guy as well that they moved from safety to inside linebacker, who played a good amount of snaps last year at that position, especially in Devin Bush's absence. So I don't know. Those 3 guys, will kind of go head-to-head on who's going to be that third guy. But I don't know. I'm interested to see what Buddy Johnson can do, but I like to see Ulysses Gilbert really kind of take advantage of that and maybe possibly be a guy there at inside. Corner, obviously Joe Hayden, Cameron Sutton. Those are going to be your 2 guys on the outside. Now, Antoine Brooks has been listed as the starting nickel cornerback the first week of preseason, and that's very interesting to me. Antoine Brooks is a guy that's played safety. He's played corner. He's a very versatile guy. Didn't really get much opportunity last year, but Mike Tomlin's very familiar with him. He's very familiar with Maryland players. So Antoine Brooks going to get an opportunity right off the bat in regards to show what he can do. And if he's a guy that can really, do that, then that's great. They also have James Pierre, who they like a lot, who has been said that he could, might play outside, might play inside. I don't know. Justin Lane's a big question mark, who they drafted a couple years ago out of Michigan State. Shakur Brown, undrafted rookie, who they picked up this offseason. He was supposed to be a middle round pick. Not sure why he fell. But there was a lot of good things said about him coming out of OTAs. So Arthur Mullet's a guy as well that's played slot corner, who is his first year with the team here. I don't know. There's a variety of names to look out for, and a lot of these guys are very unfamiliar. You're not really sure who they are. Not really any name guys. But that's the thing. Neither was Mike Hilton, right? Neither was Mike Hilton when he came in 2017 and had a phenomenal preseason and obviously turned into the best nickel cornerback, best slot cornerback in the NFL, and got a nice contract with the Cincinnati Bengals. So now it's time for one of these guys to step in, man. I don't know. I'm interested to see it. I love to see Antoine Brooks, really be able to have a good showing. Maybe take advantage of that. James Pierre possibly. I don't know. Time will tell on that. But I think really corner-wise, I really think, Hayden Sutton, James Pierre, I definitely think are 3 guys that will be on there. I think behind them, it's really up in the air. I think Antoine Brooks is up in the air. He's had some good things in training camp. I believe he picked off Big Ben a few days ago. So the Steelers are giving him a chance right away. Now at safety, Malik Hooker is apparently signing with the Cowboys, so all the Steeler fans and even myself that kind of wanted to see that happen, out the window. Safety, Edmonds, Minkah Fitzpatrick. There's your starters. Now, behind them, it's very thin. They signed Miles Killebrew, who's a big special teams guy from the Lions. He'll probably make it simply because of that, but as long as he can show, there you go. Trey Norwood, they got in the 7th round of the draft this year. They like his intangibles. They like his ball skills. He's been getting some opportunities at the safety spot in training camp. We'll see if he takes advantage of it. That's the thing with a lot of these guys right now, man, is the Steelers defense going into this year is definitely top 3, top 5 defense for sure. But they have a lot of guys that have an opportunity to step up and really make a name for themselves and really grab that brass ring, you know what I mean? And really take advantage of the openings that are there and the competition, you know? And I really think probably the biggest guys to look out for is a Shakur Brown, Antoine Brooks in regards of the corner spot. And I think an inside linebacker between Gilbert, Buddy Johnson, and Marcus Allen, you know, that's a handful of guys already, I just said, and there's more on the D-line. There's a couple guys in the secondary more. I don't know. There's a lot of names on the defensive side that are going to be in heated battles, heated competition to really show that they belong in the rotation, in the lineup, and deserve snaps every Sunday. So that's definitely going to be something that's going to be interesting to look out for in preseason. But that's really the basis of, you know, that depth chart. And obviously Boswell's going to be your kicker. Punting, Presley Harvin, who they drafted in the 7th round, and Jordan Berry, they'll kind of battle it out. Punter, not sure who's going to, you know, hit on that. Nonetheless, those are really kind of the Steelers, that's the first depth chart, but those are really kind of the Steelers' opportunities and camp battles going forward so far in regards to those spots. Now, if I had to make a prediction, I think James Pierre is going to get a lot of time, whether it's at slot or outside throughout this year. I think Shakur Brown's going to be a guy that makes a leap. Antoine Brooks, I really don't know. It's still early for me to tell and really make predictions, but at least from that standpoint, yeah. I think Roche is going to be a guy that's going to be, you know, that guy you have every year that has that great preseason. I could really see that being him, Quincy Roche. But I know you guys are just as excited as I am that football's back next month. I believe, what's the date? Is it August 5th? I think it's the first preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, August 5th. I think August 5th is the very first preseason game, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, nonetheless, I'm pretty sure it's August 5th. But yeah, nonetheless, that's kind of really the outlook on the Steelers' depth chart going forward. Throughout the preseason, they'll obviously be posting other ones. But I think that's really what we can look at in regards of, you know, who we know is going to be the number one guys, the starting guys, and kind of who we see maybe, you know, being that 2, that 3, maybe that 4, depending what position that is. Now, also regarding the Steelers, you know, Big Ben, it was said earlier this week that he was on a Tom Brady diet, you know, the healthiest he's felt, all these different things. You know, people were talking about that. He shows up to camp. There's a picture of him. You know, of course you have people making fun of him. It's funny because the only people who care are Cleveland Brown fans. I got into it with one guy on Twitter. This guy's some 50-year-old clown on Twitter, and I'm like, really? You're on Steelers Twitter, you're 50 years old, and you're talking about a quarterback reporting to training camp, and and you're talking about whatever it is you're talking about, and I'm just like, why do you care? And of course he doesn't reply back. I'm like, why do you care? Really, I want to know. All the Brown fans out there that want to comment on Steelers Twitter and Steeler posts, like, why do you care? Really, I don't understand. You know, I mean, and other fans do it on other fan bases, of course. I mean, sometimes it's trolling or whatever. But really, they're the only fan base I've seen that actually cares what Big Ben looks like. Now, Big Ben didn't look really much different, I felt like, than he did last year. But he says he feels very healthy. His arm feels great. Lighter, which is great. And just because someone maybe went down more on their diet, that doesn't mean that they're going to look like this freaking shredded freak. You know? That means that, you know, maybe they just lost a good amount of weight. They feel better. They feel lighter. They feel healthier. They feel more energy. You know? And I think that's what Big Ben feels, according to what he said. So all these people that are making fun of because he doesn't look like this shredded guy, I don't know what to tell you. He looks great. He looks great. I'm expecting Big Ben to have a nice season this year. I'm interested to see this new Steelers offense. And we'll kind of get a glimpse of that in preseason. And, we'll see what comes out of that. But I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to go into on, what was it? I feel like there was another thing, folks, I wanted to go into real quick. I'm trying to see what it was. I can't remember what it was. There was something else Steel related that I wanted to go into. I can't remember. It'll probably pop up in my mind as it happens to everybody else when you least expect it. But nonetheless, what we're gonna do is, in regards to the Steelers, I'm definitely gonna go over like their schedule and kind of really the outlook. Really, once preseason ends, I'm gonna go over really the outlook of their team. Really, kind of what we can expect this year. Give some predictions, record-wise, maybe kind of go through what we think player stats are going to be. We're going to really kind of go in depth and everything, really once we kind of get past preseason and we really see the final outlook of this team. But yeah, in regards of, the rest Steelers, training camp, any other kind of news coming out of training camp, I mean, Melvin Ingram's actually wearing number 8, so he's taking advantage of the New Jersey rule. Trey Turner's rocking number 51. I'm excited to see what both those guys do, man. I mean, both of them former Pro Bowl guys. They both have had very good careers on their respective teams. So I'm interested to see, that what they can bring to the offense and the defense this season. It'll be exciting. But we're going to move out of Steeler talk right now because that's really the basis of everything. Coming out of training camp right now for the Steelers really over the last 2-3 days. Now, going into the Pirates, this is actually great news for all of us Pirate fans. So it's been reported, yes, we know Adam Frazier is a guy that we can expect to be moved, and the Mariners apparently are very interested in him. There hasn't really been any kind of heated talk, but as of today, a couple hours ago, Tyler Anderson's reportedly getting a lot of interest from the Phillies and the Yankees. He can definitely be a guy that can be moved as well. Richard Rodriguez has been said to be a guy that can be moved. Now, there were some idiots out there that mentioned Bryan Reynolds. No. And I've said since I said this several weeks ago, Bryan Reynolds is not a guy you move. And this is actually great news for all of us Pirate fans that the Pirates are not going to be moving him. Bryan Reynolds is having a phenomenal season. Bryan Reynolds is a guy you build around. And that's what has been said that the Pirates are going to do. They're going to build around him. He's going to be a cornerstone piece for this franchise. And that's exactly how it needs to be. There's no reason to trade him, okay? What was the point of trading for him then? If you're going to trade him now, what was the point of trading for him in 2019? Or 2018. You traded for him. Oh, yeah, this guy's going to be, this guy has a lot of promise. He's got a lot of potential, so we're going to move Andrew McCutchen for him. And he's going to be a future part of this team. Oh, yeah, well, let's trade him, though. No, freak out of here. You don't trade a guy like that. So all the Pittsburgh media idiots out there that were mentioning that, no, you're an absolute idiot. What are you going to get for him? What better value are you going to get for him right now? Nothing. Bryan Reynolds is not even yet in the prime of his career. You want to mention the timeline of when you see this team winning? Okay. Well, the Pirates' timeline's probably within maybe 2-3 years. Bryan Reynolds is still going to be in his 20s at that time. Bryan Reynolds, number 1, is too good to trade away. Number 2, he's a future part of your team, so you're not moving him. And number 3, the value you're going to get that you would get for him doesn't match up to his potential and what he can bring to this franchise. What, are you going to trade him for low A guys? You're just going to keep killing the fan base at that point too, because you can't commit to anybody. You got to commit to people at the same time. Freak out of here. Bryan Reynolds is staying. He ain't getting traded. That's been reported. No interest at all in the Pirates and moving Bryan Reynolds. It's been reported that he's going to be the guy that they build around. That's going to be a key piece to this rebuild. And that is absolutely great news for all of us. Yeah, so take him out of the picture. Trade deadline's July 31st. It's coming up very soon. If I had to bet my money, man, what if Adam Frazier doesn't get traded? Really, what if he doesn't? I've been saying, if you don't get the offer you like for Adam Frazier, don't trade him. Don't trade him. Maybe wait till winter meetings. Maybe wait till spring training time, maybe. Don't trade him. Why are you going to trade him just to trade him? You stick to what you think he's worth and what you think you're worth getting for him, you stick to that. You stay true to that. Okay? Adam Frazier is having the best year of his career. Adam Frazier is a hitting machine. Any team in contention could use a guy like that, whether they have a hole at second base. He can play other parts in the infield, the outfield. He's a guy that you want on your team if you're a competing team. And if the Pirates feel like they're not going to, if they're not seeing the value that they think he's worth, don't trade him. Don't trade him. What is he, 29? I believe, right? He's 29. So obviously Adam Frazier doesn't really fit in the plans in regards of, if you're kind of a rebuilding team necessarily. That's what I'm saying. Wait till winter meetings, right? I think Tyler Anderson, with things really heating up, I could definitely see him being traded, especially a team that might need a lefty pitcher at the bottom of the rotation. He could be a guy that fits that bill. Richard Rodriguez, I really don't know. I feel like his trade value's kind of been going down a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get moved at the trade deadline this year, maybe in the offseason. Adam Frazier, I still think will get moved, but I wouldn't be surprised either at the same time if he doesn't. So I don't know. I'll keep you guys updated on that, as I know you guys are following that. But yeah, another guy too that I didn't think was going to be gone was Kyle Crick. Kyle Crick just got DFA'd a few days ago. I didn't expect that. Kyle Crick, I thought this year was, starting off the year, yeah, he was having a bounce back year. Last couple weeks, he was kind of struggling a little bit, struggling with that slider. Maybe it had to do with some of that sticky tack, spider tack, whatever. Foreign substance. But Kyle Crick officially got DFA'd. He passed through waivers, and the Pirates aren't picking him back up. So his tenure's done. They got him out of the Andrew McCutchen trade in 2018. He had a good 2018, good 2019 here. It was terrible last year. Well, he was actually kind of bad at some points in 2019 too. But I didn't think he was going to be a guy that was DFA'd, though. I honestly thought Crick might still be around next year. Because obviously, I thought there were a couple times they could have DFA'd him over the last couple years. But they stuck with him. They wanted to keep giving him a chance. He showed good things throughout the beginning of this year. Struggled really the last month or so. But they're cutting their ties. Really didn't think he was going to be DFA'd. And looking into next year, I don't really know what to expect out of this Pirates bullpen next year. I really don't. I like Luis Oviedo. He's been injured. He showed some good things. He had some struggles, but he's a young guy. I like him. I think Blake Sitterlin, is going to be a guy that might be ready to come up next year from AAA. He's hurt, though. I don't know. When you look at their bullpen right now, and you look at everybody in their bullpen right now, Rodriguez, Chase and Shreve, Sam Howard will probably be there, but he's hurt. Dwayne Underwood Jr., Trevor Cahill. All those guys will probably be gone. They're probably going to have a brand new bullpen next year. Maybe they'll sign a guy, a veteran guy as well to bring in. I really don't know. But I was very surprised Kyle Crick got DFA'd, but I think we're going to see a brand new bullpen next year. I really do. And I don't even know what to expect from this team next year in regards of roster. Starting pitching, Brubaker will probably be there. Well, Brubaker will be there. Mitch Keller will probably be there. He's still in AAA, though. Steven Brault will probably be there. I'm talking about starting off the season. Maybe Miguel Yajure, maybe. Max Kranick, he wasn't very good his last start. They just sent him back down. Maybe him. But I really don't know what to expect out of the starting five next year. On the mounds, the bullpen, I could easily see being completely different. Moran, I think, will still be there at first. Frazier's traded. Second base is open. Shortstop, I think shortstop should be open. Kevin Newman sucks. He hasn't shown anything that he's a first-round talent. He showed some things in 2019. Other than that, he hasn't shown anything. Shortstop should definitely be an open competition. Third base, Hayes. Reynolds I think is really the only outfielder in regards of that has a spot next year. Polanco, he going to be gone? I wouldn't bring him back. Ben Gamble, they really brought him in to kind of fill out the outfield. I mean, I think he's been pretty good for his role. Do they bring him back? Swaggerty, when's he going to come up next year? He's out. Probably toward the end of next year, probably. I don't really know. I mean, John Nagowski, I think he's a guy maybe that you can work in the outfield a little bit. Ben Cherington said that he's all open for moving guys around, experimenting with guys. I think you definitely bring back John Nagowski. Fan favorite. He's been one of the hottest hitters on your team ever since you acquired him a couple months ago. Why wouldn't you bring a guy like that back? To help strengthen that bench. You know what I mean? He'll be 29, but you still, bring him in to help strengthen out the bench, bring some depth in. If you need some help in the outfield, maybe you have that backup behind Moran. He's definitely a guy I think you should bring back. Rodolfo Castro, he'll definitely get, his name in the fold there at second base, probably. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to predict what this team's looking like going into next season, I think. There's a lot of open opportunity there for guys to really step up and, really, try to fight for a spot there. Stallings will probably be the catcher there, but I think they need a backup. And AAA, a lot of their guys are AA, Class A guys, for the future and stuff like that. AAA, I mean, yeah, they got Swaggerty, but he's out, Max Kranig's down there. Miguel Yahure's down there. They have a couple relievers down there. I don't know. I think it's kind of an unpredictable team in regards of roster spots next year and who's going to start. I really don't know. Penguins, I mean, we had the NHL Draft. I was actually going to do a video on the Seattle Kraken this week, but like I said, I was sick and stuff like that. We'll go over to Seattle Kraken tomorrow. The Penguins lost Brandon Tanev, though, to Seattle Kraken, which a lot of fans are not happy about. I was actually personally surprised that the Kraken took Tanev, and it was said even before the draft, stuff like that, that they were really looking into him. I was thinking maybe Aston Reese might be the guy there. But it's funny, Jared McCann got taken from the Kraken, too. They just traded him to Toronto. Was it Toronto? Yeah, to Toronto for Philip Hallander, who they drafted a few years ago. And then the Kraken took McCann from Toronto. But I just don't understand why the Penguins just couldn't have protected McCann, but they protected Jeff Carter instead, a 36-year-old Jeff Carter who, yes, he did good things since they acquired him, but I don't see the Kraken taking a 36-year-old center. So what are you protecting him for? Jared McCann should have been protected. Jared McCann never should have been traded, but they traded him. And then they lost Brandon Tanev. But losing Brandon Tanev does free up cap space for the Penguins, right? The Penguins reportedly are eyeing a goalie to trade for, which is great news for everybody. They're keeping Tristan Jarry, okay, but I've been saying since day one that the time's now, you can't just be relying on a question mark of a goalie. You need a goalie that you can rely on, that can perform in the playoffs. It's a proven guy, especially at this point in time in Malkin, Letang, and Sidney's career. That's what you need to do. If you're keeping Jarry, great. Okay, that's fine. He can be your backup. But you need a solidified goalie. That's what you need to do. And reports are coming out that they're doing their homework on that. That's great. Now they have cap space freed up from Brandon Tanev moving, which is a positive. And Brandon Tanev is replaceable, but he was a fan favorite. I love Brandon Tanev. He was great. And now, if you can move a Pettersson, that'll free up even more space for you. So I don't know, the Penguins still in off-season mode. They're doing their homework on goalies, which is great. Who knows when anything's going to come out of that. NHL free agency has not hit yet, but I definitely expect the Penguins to make some moves. They traded McCann. McCann went to the Kraken in the expansion draft. They lost Tanev. Regardless, I was expecting the Penguins to make some moves in free agency anyway. I really have a lot of confidence in Hextall and Brian Burke and their front office, as I think a lot of fans should. But they got to fill out some of the forward spots there. I wouldn't be opposed if you trade Pettersson away. Maybe you bring another defenseman. CC's a free agent as well. Maybe you go trade for a goalie, or you do go trade for a goalie. I think should be your number one priority. I don't know. I definitely think the Penguins are going to make a couple nice moves. I do. I think they're going to free up some money. I don't think these guys are dumb, folks. I really don't. I don't think this is Jim Rutherford who just pulls trades out of his ass and anything like that. I think these are guys who do their homework. I think these are guys who are going to make relatively realistic trades for this team to just strengthen this team better and not just do things randomly that make no sense like Rutherford did sometimes. But NHL free agency coming up here soon, and it's great news because the NHL is going back to the 82 regular game season. Divisions are going back to normal, which is great, which is how it needs to be. And I don't know. We'll definitely talk about it whenever Penguins make move. There was a report they're interested in Coyote center Christian Dvorak. I don't know. There's just some rumors out there. It's all speculation, but we'll definitely get more idea on this team once free agency hits, and if they do kind of start freeing up even more money, we can definitely expect them to make a move somewhere, a couple moves. I don't know. But that's going to wrap it up here, guys. Episode 21 of Heintz Sight. We're going to be back here tomorrow again. That's just how it's going to have to be. And actually next week, just a little update, because I'm going on vacation next week. So we're going to be doing a show on Friday and Saturday. So no Sunday show next week. It's going to be Friday, Saturday. That's the thing. I know we've been kind of moving days around, everything like that. But there's just been things getting in the way. Like I said, I've been kind of sick, and but I still want to get the show out there. Still want to get content out for you guys and things like that, which is what we're doing. We're just having to shuffle dates around right now, and we will be doing that as well once NFL season starts, because we're gonna have to be moving the podcast to different days. And like I said, we'll be doing more content throughout the week. But you guys' support is always appreciated, and I would appreciate it, if you guys want to subscribe, if you want to hit that like button. I would love to be able to, continue to reach more sports fans, and we can all just have fun sports discussions, sports opinions, things like that. You agree? Awesome. If you don't, that's okay too. Everyone's entitled to their own thoughts and things like that. But nonetheless, you guys are awesome. I always appreciate every one of you for tuning in, and we'll be back here tomorrow. So kind of stay in tune for that. And, but yeah, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow. We got a good amount of news coming out of the NFL. A couple of things coming out of Major League Baseball we're going to talk about. We'll see if anything happens today. So we got some interesting things to go over that we want to dive into. But yeah, enjoy your Sunday, guys. Thank you all again. You guys are great. We'll see you tomorrow. And again, thank you all for the support and everything like that. So we'll see you then, guys.